Okay, welcome back, everyone. Tonight we are playing Poisoned, a pirate RPG by Vincent Baker with the Gauntlet. This is the third of 3 sessions, so I guess we will get some kind of resolution tonight. Fair or foul for our pirates. My name is Donna. I'm running the game. My pronouns are he, him, and let's go through the rest of our players in character keeper order, and maybe add like a quick character intro, and maybe like last time on Poisoned, this is what we saw you get up to.
Yeah, hey there, I'm Steven, he, him, and I am playing Jackson, the stupid fucking captain. Things as Jackson has mostly accomplished everything they've set out to do so far through punching people in the face and stabbing folks. And our last attempt to board a ship went pretty disastrously, with many of the crew dead. And I think it ended with Jackson like making a speech, and then seeing the, of course, ironic colors of the Navy on the horizon, who Jackson had originally sold out the ship to, but now I want vengeance on the captain of that ship as well. So Jackson doesn't make good life decisions.
Great, thanks. Josh?
Yeah, I'm Josh. I'm playing James Fitzjames, the former carpenter and current quartermaster. I have a rocky relationship with Jackson. I backed him for captaincy, but I embarrassed him in front of the crew, so he's not on my good. We're not on each other's good sides right now. And I hope to manage to leave the ship alive with what wealth I have accumulated intact, so that way I can return to port and flee with a pardon with my sweetheart Abigail.
Indeed. And Sabine?
Yeah, I'm Sabine. I use any pronouns. I'm playing Jonathan Caldwell, who's the ship's surgeon. And last time, when we had made this disastrous attack on the ship, that was mostly because he needled Jackson to do that, because the captain of that ship was his father, and he doesn't like his father, to put it very mildly. He actually wants to murder his father. Right now, he also doesn't much like James, because James threatened him, and Jonathan doesn't like that. He doesn't much like Jackson as well, but he hopes that Jackson was pretty lucky in the beginning, but that seems to fade now. Maybe just blow up the ship, make it all stop. We'll see. I mean, I promised the last captain that I would sink the dagger before I would see her taken.
So you might have to fulfill that promise, to a dead man, but nonetheless, they all stick. So what's I think let's get a quick reaction from everyone when the sail is spotted, and when it's evident that it's not some easy target. Maybe its color set it off, mark it off as an actual warship. I think we'll maybe get Jackson's reaction last, because I think he might. Is he? No, he was out on deck, right? When we last saw him, he wasn't in the sick bay still.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get from Jackson first.
Yeah. I think that Jackson, spying the colors and the number of sails, I think that's probably what sets it off pretty clearly as being a warship that has way more. It has a quite a few sails compared to like a smaller vessel. Um, uh, I think Jackson shouts to the crew, "It appears we're under pursuit. My fellows, it may be that a fight has come for us before we wanted, but a fight we shall give."
And how does or quartermaster James Fitzjames react to that?
Yeah, James, hears the announcement. He sort of pops his head above deck and he sees the ship and he just goes, "Oh, fuck." And, what can you do when the Royal Navy shows up? Now is a bad time to surrender. So he swears. I think he grabs one of like the sailors next to him and, spins him into action, sends him off to whatever station he has to man. And James is gonna run back below deck to try and, secure some of his belongings in case this all goes south.
The first ever go bag as provided by Fitzjames, it's probably pretty heavy, if he's taking any measure of wealth with him. But let's see. And how about Coldwell? Is there a pre-battle preparations that he usually makes, or is there something else that he's up to when he hears the news?
I think the reaction is pretty much the same as James. Is like, fuck, this is not a good time for that. Okay, well, what can you do? He will go down below deck, then he will spit on the cross, then he will, I think he's kind of has some kind of gree or something heathen that he acquired somewhere, and spit on that as well, just for, just piss them all off. And then he'll just, grab his saber and his pistol, and maybe he can shoot somebody who needs shooting. That might be interesting. Interesting,
I guess.
To
start, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's mostly like, oh, now this, okay, fine, we're all dead. Probably should have seen that coming anyway.
So, so is the ship turning to fight, or are you fleeing? I guess Jackson, at least, what are you trying to convince the crew to do for you?
I mean, I'm gonna try to convince them to fight for me. I mean, I want revenge on this captain. I'm not gonna say I want revenge on this captain in particular or why, but they should still be willing to die for me.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, mentioning you wanted revenge on the captain might beg a few questions, right?
Yeah.
So I think if there is malcontentment and ships are in play, then the captain must bargain with the crew before entering battle. So what do you promise them?
Oh, I mean, I promise them all hefty shares of the next of whatever loot we get off this ship, and enough to set a fair number of them up for I'm sure if not for life, and a fair amount of time before they have to go pirating again.
But Captain, you can't promise them all hefty shares. That's not what shares means, right?
Yeah, like I mean, like hefty shares compared to like what a regular crewman on a pirate ship is like expects.
So you're giving up your captain's cut, are you? Or
Yeah.
yeah, I think that seems inclined to get them riled up, right? Um, and I think, as is the way with pirates, they are already spending the money as they ready the guns for action. They're mentioning how many rounds they'll get in at the at whatever pub they arrive in back in Port Edward, if they're let after the last debacle. I think they're quite cheery of that. This can't be a very unusual episode if a captain is promising to give up shares to make them richer. And I'm sure there are some who speak that this is only due to Jackson's desperation, but they'll take their cut nonetheless. I guess in the it's still going to take some hours to get into action. So I want to see, last time there was, talk of fomenting mutiny or rebellion, and there was some jostling over who would get to be captain if Jackson messed up. Is James or Jonathan courting any more of that as you get closer and closer to action?
I mean, before James becomes captain, right? Somebody who knows the ship should do that. And if it's not Abrams, son or whatever his name was, if it's not Fitz James, then, well, I mean, I can't do worse than Jackson.
James is not gonna. In the scramble, I think James is going to try to find. He's going to try to find Ned, who he had a little conversation with about captaincy last session. I think when he finds Ned, he's gonna, he's gonna like clap him on the back, saying, "All right, Ned, we're going up against the Navy. I'm gonna have to be over the board, so if I don't come back, you're back to quartermaster. This is gonna be a tough one. Afterwards, I think you'd do best to follow my lead."
Which is it then, James? You're gonna die, or you're gonna be promoted to captain?
Oh, well, there's more than one way for me to leave this shit job, so either way, it's looking up for you. But would you rather be quartermaster for that, for Jackson, that idiot, that coward?
Well, he certainly feathers the nest of his quartermasters. That's what I hear. That's what I see. That bag underneath your jacket is bulging something peculiar.
You do well not to mention that, Ned.
Would I?
Maybe you'll get a bulge of your own, huh?
I think this might be some kind of conflict. What do you think?
This could be a conflict. I'm willing to, yeah. James is a big, strong woodworker man. He's gonna grab Ned and push him around a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess brutality versus soul. I mean, if you're trying to strong arm him, maybe, or is this you just trying to frighten him?
This is strong arming, let's say.
Okay.
Is there a role for your party, Link?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, let me... It's the same one, but I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. Okay.
So it'll be brutality versus soul.
So I have 4 brutality.
Yep. 2 soul. Okay, so that is 0 successes for your soul. So that gives you 2 over him.
Yeah, so he, I clap Ned around the, I grab Ned, and I'm holding him there tight, and I go, well, there's something in it for you, Ned, if you keep your goddamn mouth shut. And if you don't, well, there's a lot worse for you.
So I think you put your hands on him, and I think no self-respecting pirate is going to let that stand, no matter how much he agrees with your point of view. So take your filthy hands off me, and he just like punches your bicep to try to make you let go of him. So yeah, let's. I guess we're escalating into a real fight, albeit for him he's just punching. So I'm not sure if you are the same way inclined.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just gonna. Somehow Blind Ned has not been in a fight yet. His brinksmanship is 6, so he is. Okay. Okay. So I think your profile will be the same. Either way we look at it, either you're unarmed or you're not. His is 3 by default. So you have 2 X's from your initial, and you can spend them, remember, at any time to get benefits from them. So yeah, I guess let's. I'll just clear the room so we can start. So yeah, in a normal fight, one-on-one fight, there's no difference in profile. So yeah, I guess he's rolling 6, and you'll be rolling your brinksmanship.
So that is 6 dice for brinksmanship. And that is 4 or 5, I think, actually.
Yeah, 5. And he gets 4. Still pretty good rolling either way. Yeah, so I guess why don't you describe how that goes for you? This is, I guess, just punching at the moment, just fist to fist. So,
Yeah. So I put my hand on him. I'm sort of manhandling him around. And then I think, after James says his piece, Ned, sort of hits James. He hits back at James, and James just sort of, shoves him against the wall, because he already had his arm on him. So, Ned gets pushed back, and they're in the cabin probably. So he gets sort of knocked against the wall of the cabin.
Okay, so I'm going to see if he escalates to the next level of fist to fist. His punctuation was 6, so I'll just re-roll his dice. And oh yeah, he is escalating. So yeah, I guess he's angry at himself for being put in this position, put up against a wall, and he is, maybe swinging his left hook into action, maybe punching at your midriff. So I have 2 misses. So I'm going to reroll those. And exactly the same results. So yeah, he is not winning. I think maybe what happens here is that left hook that he's sending in towards your stomach actually hits your bag. That's full of some gold bullion, and that is not an easy thing to keep punching. So yeah, he is at the moment, I guess, taking a bit of a beating, up against the wall, hurting himself by punching you. What do you do?
I think so. He punches, and his fist hits the big sack of gold in my coat, and it clearly hurts. And James is gonna. James is. Sorry, I'm just looking at the rules.
So you can escalate. I guess if you wanted to, right? You're not losing, but you can still bring it to the next level if you really want to beat him down.
Yeah, I don't want to really hurt him because he seems like he might be useful if I do come out on top.
Of course, the other thing is you have those X's that you started out with, right? So you can always spend those to reduce his harm. You can show mercy that way as well.
Yeah, I think I will. I will spend those X's to reduce harm. That's 2 X's to reduce harm.
Yeah.
He hits the bag. He kind of recoils. It's clear that it like hurt. Maybe it broke a knuckle or something. And James just sort of like tosses him back, and he goes, "You'd best not fight, old man. It's clear he'll win. You've got a cushy job with me. You've got a cushy job if I die. Just keep your goddamn mouth shut with it."
So yeah, I think it's obvious, right? You've had the better of him, and he, his face is red with anger for being treated like this. But he, stalks away and says, "I'll see you after the battle." I guess he's not happy, but he is definitely kind of accepting your proposal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So James is gonna get back to the top of the deck, act all breathless when he gets up there, so it doesn't seem suspicious that he is only now appearing.
Okay. Who at the gunwale or in his cabin, wherever Jonathan is, who is he talking to?
I lost myself between the tabs. Who's he talking to? Let's see who he's talking to. Notable crew, right? Who do we have? Gunnery Ma. I think I'd still talk to Adamson because I know he's lost a bit. He's lost his appetite for being a captain. But if he doesn't want to do it, somebody needs to do it. And that fucking James, I don't trust him. He's not a good quartermaster anyway. Rum's running out.
Priorities, aboard ship. So yeah, I mean, he is, I think, busy right with the guns, but he can take a minute to talk to Jonathan.
Yeah.
There's going to be a bloody fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a bloody fight, and who knows who lives and who dies in that fight. Who knows if you will have a captain afterwards or a ship.
Well, captains can be replaced. Ships take a bit more effort.
Yeah, true. Still, could be an opportunity, getting rid of some baggage.
Getting rid of some baggage. Well, I'll need more help from you than I got the last time. You still on the outs with Fitzjames, or do you think we can rely on his support?
No, Fitzjames is bad. He's one of the baggage I would like to get rid of.
Okay. Well, there's no pleasing Mr. Caldwell sometimes, huh?
It's true. Well, you've not displeased me.
Well, I'm a wise and generous man.
It's true. That's why people respect you on the ship.
Well, if the Dagger didn't have these guns, we wouldn't have got through half of these fights.
Fair enough.
I mean, how do you try to take a ship without using the ship's best weapons? Well, that's the kind of mistake I wouldn't make if I were captain.
Yeah. When I talked to Jackson about the other ship, I envisioned a different kind of fight. To be honest.
Well, some people don't like take and cancel. They just want to do what they see fit. That's
They just
right,
want
I
to do
suppose.
the first thing that goes through their fucking minds.
Well, let's see about that.
Maybe his luck will hold. We'll see. Doesn't seem like it, but maybe they'll dance today for him. And if he doesn't,
well, I'll shoot my gun straight and true, and we'll hope that is enough.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, so I guess let's see what Jackson is up to for the pursuit, or the well, if you're both seeking out battle, it's hardly a pursuit. So yeah, what's the approach?
So how, like, what is the kind of conditions of on the sea right now? Is there anything we could take advantage of, or is it pretty clear?
I don't think we had any problems either in terms of calm or high winds the last time.
Right.
Things were fairly normal. But there's always going to be some kind of localized conditions that might give you a slight edge if you're able to take advantage. The wind has to go from one place to another, and whether you get it sooner or later, if you can turn that to your advantage. So there's nothing significant, maybe, but certainly you could look to get a better line in some kind of pursuit, or in your approach, rather.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that. Yeah, in that case, let's see here. Okay, yeah, in that case, I think that we're going to try to take advantage of the prevailing winds and try to position ourselves, because this is a warship, and our one advantage is that we do have this strong equip of cannons. So we want to try to get into position to be able to use them rather than having to resort to our longer range cannonade.
Yeah. So
I think this is probably ambition versus brutality, right?
Yeah. So because I'm maybe paint a picture for me in terms of how that looks.
Yeah, I think that we are trying to turn and position our ship in relation to them, so that we have the advantage of the win on our side, as opposed to them who because I think that generally it's best to either sail into the wind or against or with the wind, but you don't want to sail perpendicular to it, if I remember.
Well, sailing into the wind directly is impossible, but I guess usually it's kind of the opposite, right? Sailing in that kind of 90-degree in the perpendicular directions is probably your best sailing approach.
Okay, never mind. That's what I was thinking. It was something like that, but I got them confused. Yeah, I guess we're trying to sail perpendicular to the wind and try to force them into sailing and to force them into moving into the wind. Keep them pinned down by the wind, and while we are able to maneuver around them.
Okay. So I guess we'll kind of use maybe this as the conflict for choosing the range. Whoever wins this will choose the range, whether it's a long range fight, which you probably prefer. Sorry, as opposed to broadside to broadside, which you probably prefer. I think again, maybe camera work as is going. I think we see the captain on the other ship. What's his name? Captain Rutherford. Staring at your ship, the Dagger, through his telescope, and he, I think for dramatic's sake, I think he recognizes you on the Dagger's quarterdeck, and you're definitely maybe he wonders if you're bringing the ship in, right? Maybe that's why he's holding fire and letting you get in close, right? Or let's see what the dice say. Okay. So, sorry, what did we say it was? Ambition versus brutality?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're both 5 right now, I
Okay.
think.
Okay, grand. So
Okay, that is okay for me. You did pretty well, though.
okay. Well,
I still win, but
you still win by 1. All right. So because I drop one of those results, so you get 1x. So yeah, I think what'll happen is that there's a moment when you are passing into your favored range, and he can he sees Adamson about to give the order, and it's too late for him to snap to or to win the bout, and he just allows you to come in, and he opens up with his own cannons. So I think he's gonna concede the range to you. He's not gonna push it. Okay, so yeah, in a fight, right, when you're leading others, as we saw in a previous one, in terms of helping, people will be helping you or not, as the case may be. So in your fight, let me just pull up the rules for this section just to make sure I have it right. So it's fighting in a group. So yeah, I guess if you want, if they are fighting with you, you give one of your dice to them, and then they can either keep it or they can give it back to you with an additional die. Take dice for brinksmanship into your hand. From these, give 1 die to each of the other players whose characters fight under yours. Players take a second die and add it to the one in your hand. Take it from the bank from nowhere in particular. Now, when your captain's player rolls brinksmanship, it's up to you to roll the 2 dice in your hand. If you choose to do so, this means your pirate has done his part and stood strong. The captain's player gets those dice. If you decline to roll them, instead holding them back when the captain's player lets hers roll, your pirates disobeyed the captain and doesn't fight. The captain's player doesn't get the dice, but instead you mark 2 X's on your sheet. So I guess as we're about to enter battle, let's hear from Jonathan first. You get 1 of Captain Jackson's brinksmanship dice. And do you help, as is your sworn duty, or do you hold back?
I'm a surgeon, not a vanguard fighter. I will, of course, not risk the crew's well-being by throwing myself into the front line. That's not my job at all.
Well, that's shocking. I'm shocked.
Yeah. Really? Are you? Exactly the same thing I did last time.
That's true. And how about James?
James will throw his lot in. He wants to be nearby to Jackson to keep an eye on him. Wink, wink.
So you're giving your dice back over to the captain. Okay.
I will return.
Yeah. So Stephen Jackson, I guess, keeps the same dice he started with for brinksmanship.
And how many X's are you starting with? Because we forgot to compare profiles.
Yeah. So you're in the right range for your broadside to broadside. So the dagger's profile is currently 11, and the Resolute's profile is 12.
Okay. So when it's greater, I think you get like something like 3 X's, I believe. Or no, 2 plus X is equal to the difference, so 3.
Okay. And you have 1 for the opening conflict, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
and so I'm rolling my own brinksmanship here.
your own brinksmanship, but for a promise outstanding to Captain Rutherford, he is going to lean on that to have you withhold dice equal to your soul.
Okay. So I might as well. I'm going to just spend down this to no X's right now because I'm going to need this back up a bit. So I'm going to be rolling 6 total. Yeah. 1 second. I'm getting... Yeah, okay, cool. Let me give this a roll then, and let's see if everyone dies. Oh, okay. That's 2 successes for me.
And 3 for Rutherford. So yeah, I think the cannonade from Rutherford's ship, the Resolute, is loud and up close, obviously, but almost in unison. There is the whatever officer is in charge of the gun crews on this side of the ship. Their orders are carried out instantaneously, right? In the kind of stark discipline and gunsmanship that will no doubt see the Royal Navy do well in the future. Whereas maybe Adamson's trained his crews to, aim a little bit more carefully, but in this case, it's a little bit off. The cannonballs, start to shatter. Some of the wood on the gunwales, some of it hits below decks, which I'm sure will be something that will have to be considered later on. But yeah, that's a definite advantage for the Resolute.
Okay, I guess then we are moving into escalating because I definitely think that, let's see here. Yeah, because the losing ship is nevertheless can't break away. It's necessarily within the winner's reach for grappling and boarding. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and escalate. See if this is any better. Okay, that's up to 4 successes on my side.
Okay. So yeah, what does that look like?
So let's see. Escalating is on a broadside means things like, yeah, I think we're once again we're like we are holding hard. We're pressing in closer to try to really blast our cannonade into the side of this other ship. We wanted to break them and break them hard.
So yeah, I guess.
And I think you're free to spend X's to try to add to your pool before we decide who wins, right?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to test for escalation before I do that. So let me roll. His brinksmanship is 4. I'm going to roll 4 green dice and see what happens. Oh, I got 2 successes, so that is enough to escalate. So yeah, I think across the across the distance between the ships now, which is mere yards, you hear the officers order them to like double shot their cannons, which means put 2 cannonballs in, instead of just the traditional one, which is normally not a great idea, but at this close range, it's probably going to do a lot more damage.
But that's 1x for me then, right?
For
if you're escalating, because I am currently winning by 1 in this rank of the escalation. Or do I have I misunderstood how that works?
Yeah, the X's are all accrued right at the start in the position.
Oh, okay.
Right?
All right.
So let me reroll those 2s. And oh, there we go. That is 5 successes.
Okay, so there is literally nothing else I can do here unless I think that, like, it says for the people, yeah, it doesn't put any limit. So if Coldwell wanted to step in here and try to save the ship with their 2 X's, I think that they can.
So you could have 2 extra rolls into the conflict, right?
Yeah.
Instead of using it for yourself, or I guess you could spend it to save some of the damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question. Do I want to help save the ship? I don't want these fuckers to take the ship, no matter who's captain or whatever. So
I should note that right now, by default, our ship is literally sunk. So.
Oh, okay.
Which is definitely not taken, if that is your
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Fair. See, there's another ship, so maybe we can take that one. I'm just saying. I mean, I'd rather go on the offensive. Yeah, and sink the ship because of promise, right?
Well, okay then. How are you spending these X's that you have available to you?
Okay. What can I do?
No, I was actually going to turn over then. If you're holding on to them for now, how?
So, I guess I'll narrate the end of the battle, and then we can see how each of you survives, right? So I think I think Captain Rutherford, his ship is as we kind of saw earlier, maybe significantly bigger, or at least still has a little bit more sail on than the Dagger, and is slowly inching ahead. And then he tacks the ship in front of you and rakes the whole ship from stem to stern. And that is like catastrophic damage. It's demasted. The ship is holed significantly, and then I think they pull away to a little bit further distance, and then they are really putting it into you. A red hot shot comes across. I think the first one misses and just sizzles in the water alongside the Dagger, and then the next one takes, and the ship is on fire. And with that last raking shot, there is a lot of pirates killed or grievously injured with that. So yeah. What is Jonathan up to right now? I think this ship is sinking, and there's nothing that can save her.
there any way we can get to the other ship and try to enter it and take it over? Or is it too far away?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh.
Too far away.
Okay, too bad.
I mean,
would
just to check in, you do have a bunch of X's you haven't spent enough. So, like, I think way more than 2 at this point, don't you?
I have 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So I just wanted to check if you were planning on, like, just outright killing one of us, or... Because you can.
I can indeed. That seems...
Oh, that's you. You have 3 X's. I have 2, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I can use my X's to save people, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess by default, no one is specifically hurt at this point in time. Though, as pointed out, I do have 3 X's to inflict some harm upon people.
So yeah, you could spend Coldwell. You could spend the X's to reduce the harm to the ship, but the 3 X's is just you can give someone a deadly wound, and so like you can't really spend it to like save people from that extra harm that's dealt with those special X's.
Okay, so basically all I can do with the 2 X's is save the ship from harm.
You can give someone a disfiguring wound on the other side.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I mean, Jonathan is a bit vindictive. I think we've established that. So, yeah. Let's give somebody a disfiguring wound. And if we're at it, then I think I've got to be the captain, right? Because otherwise it doesn't make a lot of sense. So
I guess he's the only named person on the other ship.
Exactly. And I mean, he's thinking us right now. I think he should have a disfiguring wound. I'll shoot off a part of his face and his ear.
Yeah.
And then you can kill all of us.
Well, I don't think I can kill all of you, not with 3 X's. So yeah, I think
sinking middle of the ocean.
Well, I think if we don't end up on a desert island, I will have failed in my duties as a GM, in a pirate game. So yeah, I think in that close range raking shot, do we see like Jonathan, poke his pistol out a window or
I think he's come up deck at one point when the ship starts burning. I mean, he's probably been on deck all the time, just looking out and trying to drag people back who are actually wounded, because that's his job, and he's actually trying sometimes at least to do that. But when things really go sour, then he's like, "Oh fuck this! At least I'm gonna leave. At least I'm gonna shoot this fucking captain," which he doesn't, but he hits him, and I think, probably not fatally, but
I think maybe you shoot out an eye or something. That certainly at the time gives you an enormous amount of satisfaction, and might be mistaken for a fatal wound.
Yeah, I mean,
certainly drops him to the deck, right?
Could always meet with infection.
It could, yeah. If you had another X, it would definitely be infected, right, and killing him. So
yeah, because I was gonna say, like, the other thing that you could consider doing is that Escala is to reduce the harm to us, and maybe the captain wants to like take us as prisoners for like a proper execution.
Nah, I'm not doing that.
Oh no, I was saying that things Donna could
Donna.
do.
I could
X's.
But I mean, like in a metagame sense, right? There's definitely different things that we can do with the rest of the game, right? We can have mutiny and backbiting on a desert island as you scramble for survival, or we could have kind of a prison setting if you're all taken and due to be hung. With the dynamic that we have, I think the more interesting one would be the kind of desert island stranded infighting. But if you all prefer the other way, I'm quite happy to.
Yeah, and I mean, what happens when Jackson's dead and a ghost? Who's captain then?
Still Jackson? I don't know. When there's no ship, though, that's the problem.
Yeah, this sort of ruins my plans. Bad news for old Ned, too.
Well, you can make him quartermaster of whatever you save on board a jolly boat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's pirates in the water. There's probably one boat at least that's still not being made into matchwood. There's whatever people can grab before they are blown to kingdom come by whatever is going to happen in the magazine in an hour or so. So I think there's bloody and smoke, sooty pirates, maybe making their slow way to a small island nearby, as you see the Resolute, sail off into the distance to report its glorious victory over the dread pirate Jackson. Who else is or who is aboard the jolly boat, or who else makes it to the this little island?
Yeah, I think Adamson doesn't make it. He's the gunner, and when those when the what's the word? The stuff,
Shots.
The other thing, that thing that goes that explodes.
Oh, the magazine.
The magazine. When
okay.
the magazine explodes, then he explodes with it. Powder. That's the word. Sorry.
And what I guess I can guess what one thing you're bringing from the ship. A few bottles of laudanum.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, that's not for the crew. Just to be clear,
obviously not.
It's not for the crew. We're on a desert island. I'm gonna lead all of it.
How about James? I guess we know what he saves, his trusty knapsack of his retirement fund. But is there anyone who does or doesn't make it with them?
Let's say Ned is on the boat. Actually, he's not a fighter, so he's probably still on the ship, and he could get to it quick enough when things started to turn south.
I mean, as the quartermaster's mate, maybe he was making sure that the jolly boat just had exactly the right supplies. So as luck would have it.
Yeah.
And how about Jackson? Are you saving anything specifically, or is there anyone you want to make sure doesn't make it or does make it? You're muted.
Oh, anyone who doesn't make it, I don't have the X's to just shoot Fitzjames.
I mean, an NPC, if you...
Yeah. I mean... I think I probably shoot Adamson because, we got into that fight still. I haven't forgiven him for that.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
Sabina's already said that he didn't make it, so yeah.
Oh, okay, right. I missed that. Okay. Yeah, I guess we can save Charles O'Neill. We need someone that can navigate.
Well, so the ship's officers have made it safe. Maybe with one or two sailors who were lucky enough to volunteer for rowing duty, right? But it's a cramped jolly boat on the couple of miles to this island. What's the topic of discussion as you row for this long distance in a jolly boat, too full for proper operations?
Oh, what was that?
Were you going to say something, Josh?
I think that it might be more of like a tense silence, as maybe some shouts to row faster.
Tense silence. I'll start singing a shanty. There's no tense silence here. Our ship went down. We're in the middle of the water. This is the worst fucking situation I've ever been in. And we're not staring at each other grimly because fuck this. We're pirates. We spit in the eyes of God and the devil. And we sing. Come on. It's probably a lewd shanty about rum. Hope somebody brought the rum, quartermaster.
I think Charles joins in with the song. He starts. I think he's got his nose in a bag of biscuits that he saved, and he's counting them, but more like, no, you've recently been in port. I don't think he needs to count the weevils that are infesting them quite yet. They're still relatively fresh. The biscuits, not the weevils.
Yeah, let's oh, actually, here at this point, do we want to take a break here because we are at the hour mark, or do we want to take? Okay.
Is it 5 minutes, or do you want to come back at 5:15?
5 works for me.
5? Yeah. So 11 minutes past. Okay. So yeah, I think some people want some really tense standoff. Others aboard our little jolly boat are insisting on being upbeat or tragically singing pirates, which is on brand. If a pirate can't sing, he may as well hang up his whatever it is we're using as. Hang up his fashionably high boots or whatever it is.
And it's good on you for trying to keep us all alive, Donna. But I think that Jackson stands up. I think that it's important for remembering when push comes to shove, who is responsible here. And then I whip out my gun and beat James across the forehead with it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not taking this sitting down.
So this sounds like some kind of an attack on an unsuspecting enemy. But
look, somebody's going to end up dead on this boat.
Is there any way you can gang up on somebody?
Yeah, so when you fight side by side, it's exactly like we had in the fight against the Resolute. Josh. So
okay.
Whoever counts as a leader, gives one of their dice to someone who is on their side, and then if that person is really on their side, they get an extra die back. So there's a bump there. I guess 2-on-1 is a little bit strange for that, but almost inevitable, I would say. So yeah, I think.
I mean, I would want to help Jackson here because, as much as
I mean, you're
was
planning on
awful-
murdering me afterwards. That's fair.
Maybe. Depends.
Maybe.
Depends. I'm not sure if I plan to murder you or myself, really, but or both. Both. Hey.
Oh,
That's a
Hey,
plan.
murder suicide for everyone.
Sorry.
So,
Look, I need a scapegoat, James.
No, I get it. I would do the same thing, but
you're just upset you didn't think of it first. Okay, so yeah, I guess let's start as we do with all of these fights. It would seem with a bit of brutality versus soul for when your pirate attacks a helpless, unsuspecting, or entirely outmatched victim. I think that still works for PC versus PC action, does it?
Yeah.
Yes. Seems like.
Okay. So, yeah, it just seems a bit odd, but I don't see anything.
Well,
that
I
suggests
think that
differently.
fictionally what... Yeah.
Oh, or it might just be a brinksmanship contest.
Let me look.
Well, okay, so my profile is 3. Jackson's is 3 and Jonathan's is 2. I don't know if theirs add up or whatever.
No, it's just our two profiles against each other. I think that, yeah.
Okay.
It's different.
So we start evenly matched. You take up dice equal to your character's brinkmanship. Your opponent takes up dice equal to their character's brinkmanship. Roll them. And then whoever is losing has to choose between lose, spend X's, or escalate.
Yeah.
Which seems like brinkmanship versus brinkmanship.
Yeah, I think that is the case. I think that, though, like, I think the reason you take actions prior to a fight is to try to influence the fiction, but I'm fine with just jumping straight into the fight then. Because I'm pulling my gun. I assume that you're pulling yours, James.
Yeah, if you have yours out, then I will respond.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll leave the vote for your party to you both. And then Sabine, if you're, I guess if Jackson is expecting help from you, then he will give you a die, and then you get to choose whether to give it back along with a bonus if you join in.
Okay. So
Yeah, what does this trustworthy pirate Jonathan do?
I think he's maybe moving towards either he is in James's back or he's moving towards there, either to get out of the line of fire or to kick him in the back of his knee. And by the murderous look in his eye, you can probably guess what it's gonna be.
Okay, so you're keeping the X's?
No, I will help you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so one
You
extra
get
die.
your die back. I will.
So like
I will at an inopportune time for James. I will.
Yeah.
push
So of
him.
course, like in terms of fictional positioning, right? You've got like 7 people or whatever it is on a small rowboat. So the maneuvering, is restricted, and of course, no one wants
Yeah.
to capsize.
Cool. So yep, I'm rolling 8 dice then.
And I will roll 6. Da-da-da. Ooh, that is not good for me. That is 2 successes for me.
Yeah.
4.
And I forget, do I get any X's for this initial roll? Because I
Because
keep getting
we-
confused about that.
Yeah, well, I guess because we cut straight to this. I don't
Okay. No,
think
then.
so. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. So you are free. Do you want to escalate?
Ooh, yes, I do. So what level are we at right now? Are we at?
We always start at 1.
But
Okay.
you're at,
Nope.
And this is gun to gun.
this is gun to gun, yeah, which is
Okay.
as serious as it gets.
It's very serious. So yeah, I will escalate to level 2.
Yeah, and it does say standing down means submitting yourself to the will of your enemy. It doesn't mean that you don't get shot.
Yeah. So you pull your gun out and start attacking me on this boat. You know, James can't really escape at all. He's kind of jammed in here. So he pulls his own pistol out of his brace, and he sort of levels it at you. He's, just pointing it straight at your head from like inches away because we're in this tiny little rowboat.
Yep.
Of course, I
So-
mean, even if you have, 2 pistols in your tucked into a belt somewhere, they're one-shot flintlock pistols, of course, given the year. So there may be a bit of bashing before you just put the fire on.
Yeah, because you're now escalating to having our guns actually leveled at each other.
Yeah. So
you re-roll all your failures.
okay. So now that is 1 extra success, so I'm still losing.
So you had 2 and now you have 3? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So Jackson is still sitting pretty up there with 4 successes. What does that look like?
I mean, I think that Jackson is just looking at you with this dead-eyed stare, and I think that you can see that the will to kill is there in Jackson's eyes. And is the will to kill in you yet, though?
You still have the first call in escalating, Josh, because you're losing.
You still have first call, and I'm going to escalate again. So we will re-roll there and see what happens. We are now at the maximum level of gun to guns. This is
when things get serious.
And that is a 4. So we are now tied.
Okay. So when you escalate to a tie, you win, right?
Yes. And
but I thought the last time when we escalated, we just had to re-roll all our dice, like re-roll the lowest die.
Yeah. So you re-roll your failures.
Yeah.
Sorry, no. In PC to PC, you're right. When there's a tie, yeah, you're right. Sorry,
Yeah.
Stephen. That's the one that came up that
Okay.
got me last time. So yeah, when you escalate to a tie, when you end up tied, each of you re-roll your lowest die, right? So you both have ones, as far as I can see. So you can re-roll those. So, but I guess this is obviously when the fire hits the pan, or the flint sparks in your pistols. What does this look like from both of your points of view?
Yeah, I think this is like I feel like this is almost practically the like we're both gauging the moment, like can I kill this other person before they kill me?
Yeah. Is my powder wet from this like ship wreck that I was just involved in? Will I get just royally screwed by this?
Yep.
So I will re-roll that 1. And that is a 2.
Okay. Let's see what my one re-rolls as. A 2.
Okay.
So we keep re-rolling.
All right. So I will
Re-roll
re-roll.
your one now.
And that is a 1 again.
So I'm just gonna say right off the bat that my dice have like magically changed. We were at 4. My one re-rolled as a 3, so we're still tied, even though my dice magically changed.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, then I will re-roll again. I will re-roll again. That is a 6.
Okay, let's see what I get. And that's a 5. We're still tied.
Okay.
So let's re-roll your 2. This is the highest you can go. So if we tie on this one.
Yeah. Okay. So re-rolling my 2. And that is a 1.
That is a 3 still.
Okay. So I will re-roll my 1. That is a 4. So if you do not roll 4 or higher, I get the win here.
Okay, and I think that's a 3. Yep.
Oof.
Yep.
So,
you took it.
Yeah. So
It's
I
not.
think
No, it's not a 3. Wait.
It's my dice keep magically changing because of the way roll for your party works. The actual die I rolled did not go up in value.
Yeah, but all of your dice are successes now.
Yeah, that's the thing. That all
Except
of my
for
dice
the
keep...
lowest one. Except for the lowest one, and you had...
I know that. All of my dice keep magically changing because of the roll for your party glitch, but I've been keeping track of what my actual successes were.
Okay.
Sorry, I wanted to clarify that.
So this is, I think, right, like maybe a classic wrestling. Each of you know you only have one shot, and you're grabbing each other's arms, and slowly the barrels start to edge in towards pointing at your opponent. What does this moment look like when that shot finally goes off for James?
Yeah, so we are, inches away from each other. And James's, finger just twitches, and the gun goes off in a big bang of powder, and it fatally wounds Jackson.
Yep, I think Jackson falls overboard into the sea and becomes a fucking accursing ghost on James.
Very painful for his last brief moments as this, big gaping wound falls into the salt water.
Yep.
And everyone in the ship, as this gunshot just went off in this tiny little rowboat. It's probably rocking pretty badly right now. And James looks at the gun, which is spent, and he probably doesn't have really any other, powder or whatever, or shot. And he he puts the gun back into whatever holster he had, and he sits down in the boat, and he goes, "Now we'd better get to land."
I think not. I don't like you, James, and I've got my gun still, so fuck you. I try to shoot you, I guess.
So when you're in a fight, right? So if you're helping on a side, do you get wounded if you're on the losing side? That's what I wonder.
No, it says you suffer the least of the harm. So in this case, like in some sense, like you only like they either miss or like this is like an all or nothing gambit, gun to gun. It seems.
Yeah. So, I mean, but the least one here is standing down to your enemy's held gun, right?
Yeah.
So I think you're bound by the result of the fight, or Jonathan is bound by the result of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but can I start my own fight?
You could, yeah, right now, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
I'm trying to start my own fight.
Okay. So
I mean, why not? I mean, we're in a rowboat. We're probably all going to die anyway. So no, I'm not. I've had it up to here with all these.
So I guess James will have to fight everyone aboard this ship before he's done. Aboard this jolly boat at least. So yeah. Do we jump straight into it like we did previously?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I've got only I think my profile is only 2.
And mine is 3.
Yeah.
So I start with 1x.
Okay.
Okay.
And your
I think as this fight breaks out, an unnatural storm begins to seize begins to form above you, because I am bringing in the accursing to bring in the storm into play.
Yeah. So for a ghost, right? We have to see if you. I mean, I think it'll probably happen because it's ambition versus soul, right? To become a ghost. Yeah, it's a
move.
It's a move.
Where is that? Oh, I see. I missed that. Okay.
So obviously, I don't think you want to give yourself over to judgment.
Yeah.
But if you're, so we'll do that now, right? Because that could affect the fight. So if your pirate dies, suffer judgment or become a ghost. Roll ambition versus soul. If you win, you can choose to become a ghost. Otherwise, or if you choose so, on to judgment.
My ambition's still 5.
Yeah. And soul is still 2, right?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So you win that one handily. I guess you meant to kill James. It doesn't matter whether you're alive or dead, right?
Yep.
So when you become a ghost, choose a player's pirate or the ship. You must follow him or it. You're bound to him or it until you find peace or until the final trumpet. Choose whether your ghost pirate will become a guardian or a curse. I think we know the answer to that. Before every fight, you get a number of X's equal to soul. Spend them to the benefit of your charge. As a guardian, you may bargain for the life of your pirate or the pirates aboard your ship. For each such bargain you strike, subtract 1 from your devil to a minimum of 1. Let's just go straight to cursing. If a curse, the GM passes to you and a cursing card, you may become a mini GM in control of this cruel fortune. Spend its X's and bring its attendant cruel fortunes into play exactly as you like. For purposes of others trying to exercise you, you may consider your potency proportional to your devil. A 3 would equal any priest or wise woman. A 6 would match the authority of the Pope, or the talent of a most ancient wit. damage.
Need the Pope to get rid of me.
So what did you say? You're calling up a storm, right?
Yep, and it's a Brinksmanship 3-6 storm, so it is a fucking monster. I rolled 2 dice to decide what the Brinksmanship of the storm is. It's a 6. I got a 6.
Okay.
The storm is willing to wait for one of them to murder the other, though.
Yeah,
Just wanted to set that as the scene.
the rocking of the jolly boat with this fight, with these 2 fights breaking out, maybe disguises the slowly growing height of the waves, right? As the storm, this unnatural storm, right? Maybe it's not the season for it, or no one has seen the warning signs. So yes, an unnatural storm.
Yeah, there's a hissing in the wind. You will never be Captain James.
And I'm sure those 2 sailors on the oars will mention something about that siren that James was seen courting.
Yep. See, this is what happens. This is what happens when you give gold to sirens.
Okay, so fight the second, James versus Jonathan. So what did we say? James is getting an extra die onto Brinksmanship for profile. So let's roll your dice.
Yeah, okay. So is this, will we say that my powder had gotten wet and we have to go to swords? Because you just said that your pistol was kind of empty, so otherwise it would just be me with a gun and you with no gun, and that would...
people can have second pistols.
I should actually mention one thing before we jump into this. James, do you want to up your murder as a result of the sin you committed? Because that would increase your Brinksmanship to 7.
You are correct. I have murdered now.
And does this? Well, I mean, it's not mutiny if he attacks you, maybe, but
yeah. So, okay. So now I actually have 7 Brinksmanship because I just killed a man. Plus the extra for my benefit.
Yeah. So, so I guess the question is for James, like, do you think this is pistols, or do you think you don't have a pistol and maybe Jonathan does because you shot your bolt, or what?
I think it's within reason that I have another pistol.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So let's do that. Rolling my dice. Why did you roll only 2?
I think those were there from Stephen's roll for
okay.
The storm.
And I've rolled pretty badly.
And I will roll 9.
Only 2 successes.
And that is 3 successes. So,
okay, so I will escalate then. I mean, obviously.
So like when you pull your pistol initially and you say you're going to murder him, what does it look like when you're escalating?
I mean, I didn't expect him to have another gun, obviously. So I will be taking it back, I guess. But there's a storm running up, and I say, you know what, fuck it, we're both going to die. It's just a question of who dies first, right?
And that is how it goes, right? We're all going to die.
Yeah, I mean, look at this storm. I'll re-roll these. Okay. No, I still have 3 to your 3.
Yes,
no, we're
3
tied.
all. So
so you
we're
did
tied.
get 1. So we are now tied.
Yeah.
All
Who
right.
gets to escalate now?
So when you escalate to a tie, when you escalate to a tie, you are winning
Oh, cool.
by default.
Nice.
So James will get to escalate now.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, I will escalate
Thought
to
so, yeah.
3. And that is 3 more successes.
Okay. I guess you win.
That's pretty.
Pretty convincing.
Pretty convincing win. Yeah.
And that is a deadly wound because we are at guns 3.
Yeah, that's fair. I fall overboard.
Yeah. So James, so you turn around, you pull your own pistol at James, and he manages to, pull one out of a boot and fire it off into your chest, which at the range that we are at is not a clean wound and is not a pleasant one. You might not be, dead quite yet.
Yeah, but with all the laudanum in my system, I probably won't feel it anyway.
Yeah. A good use for it.
Or maybe it was when Jackson was shot, he dropped his pistol, and maybe it still had the charge in it.
Yeah, that's
Jackson
perfect.
never had a chance.
That's perfect.
So when I see your gun, I managed to scoop up Jackson's and.
Yeah, I like that.
I think you fire off the shot, but I'm going to spend 2 X's because I get 2 X's in every fight to give you a disfiguring wound. I think the gun blasts apart in your hand as it fires off the shot. And I think your hand is like bloody, useless mess.
Yeah. And I yell, Jonathan is a fancy lad, so I rip the silk off of his coat, and I sort of wrap my hand in it in like a tourniquet.
Yeah, and my last words will be, I look at you and kind of laughing, like, I do wish you had a surgeon now.
Only you had someone to look after that wound,
Yeah, not a good time for it.
So is now the time to do the... If you want, yes.
I totally want. I mean, I don't want to.
Actually, you have to roll ambition versus soul.
Yeah, okay, that could work. I mean, it could also, yeah. No, it could. No, that's that could work. I've got 5 ambition, so.
So I'll roll 3 soul.
And I'll roll 5 ambition. Yeah, okay. I've got 3 successes. So do you.
Oh no.
So
what happens on a tie in these cases?
I don't know.
Can
I escalate? Probably not.
I don't think you can escalate versus.
I mean, I would totally escalate.
It just says if you win, you can choose to become a ghost. Otherwise, you go on to judgment.
It's judgment.
Oh damn!
Yeah. It's,
so you have to roll soul versus. You have to roll your soul versus the devil to see if you go to hell or not.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's harsh.
I will then go and roll my soul versus the devil to see if I go to hell. I mean, I would like to go to hell, but we'll see.
You need to spit in the devil's eyes too, as well as God.
Yeah. I mean, you've spat on every other thing.
Yeah. That's true. Oh, I roll my soul versus you roll 6. I roll 3. Yeah. Well,
you've not been a good boy.
That won't go well. No, it will. Oh wow! It's 666.
666.
Nice. No, I totally fail. I will go to hell. I mean, I actually wanted to go to hell better than the alternative, at least. But I'll still spit at him.
So, I think maybe as Jonathan hits, maybe they just turf him overboard because who wants to be have a dead guy in their jolly boat? And like the last shot we see,
we'll look through
the bottles of laudanum kind of drifting out of his pockets as he descends into the depths.
The pirates on the boat sort of scoop up what is floating up in the water. They don't want to be without medicine. And James, sort of standing there with another smoking gun and this bloodied stump.
You
He-
rock wildly in the sea. It is as if the storm wants to capsize you all, killing you all to a man.
Yeah. He throws this other gun down onto the ground and he yells, "Row!" As he, grabs a bottle of laudanum out of the salt water with his good hand. He,
So Donna, what is
fork out with
the Brinksman? What is the profile of this?
Well, the brinksmanship doesn't even matter, because the rules say when the storm comes into play, it pursues the player's ship or jolly boat, and if it overtakes, attacks it as another ship would. For the storm's profile, roll 1. So you roll profile, right?
All right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the
I
storm
already rolled
6,
Storm's
wasn't it?
profile. I think.
So it's roll 1 die and add 8.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah,
Because I read something else.
Dear, oh dear.
Okay, I guess that must have been a change.
Okay.
All right.
That's what it says in my PDF anyway.
Okay.
Play the storm as a relentless enemy, a bloodthirsty captain with no thought for himself or his own, escalating every time without ever rolling brinksmanship. So, on a jolly boat, I mean, I don't even know where to start with giving this a profile.
I assume it's probably like a merchant, a completely defenseless merchant vessel has a profile of 4.
This
So
probably has 2.
Yeah, so this isn't even a ship, right?
it's probably 1 then. That's basically your profile when you're unarmed, right?
Yeah.
I would say that.
I mean,
pretty much.
it seems like this is, impossible, right? But I guess the dice might say otherwise.
But I'd say nevertheless, it sounds like James is trying to weather hardship for some X's.
Yeah. Now, so a sloop. So if we said it started at 4, I think that's pretty minimal, right? For a profile for a boat, right? And I think you can see land, so getting the land is achievable in some way. Whether the storm would allow you to survive on an island this small, who knows? But I think let's start with that challenge. You are when your pirate acts despite pain or duress, or presses on in the face of exhaustion, or endures torture or deprivation. Also, when your pirate practices some skill in bad conditions. I think that fits, right? And so maybe winning this challenge, right, is trying to get to the island before the storm sinks you, right?
All right. So, what should I roll?
So you're rolling soul versus devil.
Ooh, that is not a good sign for me. I have a soul of 2 and a devil of
6. Yeah,
so that is 1 success on soul. Oh,
and 4 for the storm.
Well, the GM gets nothing for this roll. He just gets to set the fiction at least.
Yeah. So, but I guess, right, the storm. I get to set the scene, right?
Yeah.
And I think the storm is battering you away from the island, right? It is pummeling this jolly boat. No matter how hard the sailors row, there's two men on each of these oars, even though it's awkward, pulling for all their worth, and you're just going backwards in this storm. This storm is, pushing you it seems to be directed just at your boat. You can kind of see blue skies, right, in a quadrant, off the sides, but the storm is fixating on you, and is driving you back out into the open ocean.
Yeah, James is, he's yelling. He's in pain. I can hear the storm whispering to him. These, like cruel taunts in Jackson's voice, which, he can't figure out if it's because he's going mad or if it's because, there's some devilry at play here.
So I think, one of the sailors just gives up. He lets go of the oar and just dives straight into the water. He'd prefer to give himself some chance of surviving or just drown instead of bearing this anymore.
Yeah. James is incensed by this disloyalty. He is probably out. Let's say he's out of guns at this point.
Yeah.
But he has his, cutlass on him, and he pulls it out with his left hand because his right has been blown off by the pistol. And he slams it down into an empty bench on the boat. And he just yells, "Row if you don't want to die." But this seems like a lost cause.
Yeah.
I think the storm might just overtake the boat. I think he's been cursed by Jackson's vengeful ghost.
So, I'm inclined to say, there's malcontentment at play here, and there's nothing for malcontentment on storm. Then the captain must bargain with the crew or be thrown overboard. So what do you promise them? Or is it a quick death? Have you already made that promise?
James is just like screaming over the wind. He's yelling, "I know where the gold is buried at Port Edward. I can bring you riches greater than any other captain. You won't have gold in hell, boys." And he's just like raving into the wind. They can probably barely hear him over the rain and the hail hitting the boat.
And I think Blind Ned is like looking at you and looking at the bag around your under your coat, and just he's thinking, you have all this gold already, and you're promising them more. So maybe he'll stick with you. Does the storm shout anything in response to this?
Gold will not keep me from dragging your soul to hell, James Fitzjames.
I think, yeah, and James screams into the wind, and he yells, "Damn it, Jackson, I killed you once already!" And probably no one else on the boat has heard anything. So it just looks like he has turned out to the sea and just screamed this out. Which is not a good look if you're trying to convince the crew to do something.
So, Stephen, what did you roll for the storm's profile? Did you roll a die for that?
Yeah, so apparently I rolled based on old rules. So let me
Okay.
actually make the actual roll. Let me clear these. For the storm's profile, it's 1 + 8, right? For the D6.
1d6 plus 8, yeah. So
10 for the profile.
Okay. So versus the jolly boat of 4, that's significant.
Yeah, that's 6 X's for you, Donna.
This is a fight. That means that I've already lost.
Well, maybe you're already dead. I think.
Yeah.
The ship might survive, but Stephen, I think I mean, you're the co-GM in charge of the storm, so I think you could.
Oh, I think that the storm will play with James Fitzjames for just a bit. Let him think that he's got away.
Yeah.
Um,
So I will cede this, I think, because I think this is the end of James Fitzjames. This is
Yeah.
ranting and raving. Because if one side's profile beats the other by 4 or more, it's not a fight, it's suicide.
Okay. Right, I forgot about that.
I will concede to the rules
Yeah,
here.
I think
Okay.
Charles whacks you over the back of the head with the oar, and you go like plonk into the water.
Yeah, I'm sort of struggling, but I think the wind and the waves.
And then like all the only pirates on the crew, they're just like pushing you under with the oar, keeping you under. And because they've decided they want to appease this storm, and it means giving them you.
so I think one of them, maybe Charles, is like yelling out to the, some god or other that his ancestors believed in, or some god that he himself has prayed to in the middle of a storm, some spirit, to take James Fitzjames and spare them, and they
Yep.
will remember this day and the storm's mercy.
Yep. So let's see if Jackson manages to drag you to hell, James Fitzjames. Do you wanna make that roll?
Yeah. So.
Or do you want to start haunting that fucker Charles?
Yeah. Well, I'll try to be a ghost first. This is a cruel death, and James will not take it sitting down.
So roll ambition versus soul. If you win, you can choose to become a ghost.
Yeah. All right. My ambition is 3, and my soul is 2. So, ambition. 3 successes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's and 2 failures on my dice. So you're definitely a ghost.
I am a ghost, and yeah. So Charles is. I think as James disappears, gurgling beneath the waves, the storm starts to break up, as if by magic, as if by fate, and now on this suddenly and very eerily calm sea, Charles and Ned and whoever else is like left on this boat, like slump over, and just the wind, yeah, and there is just a whisper in the wind in Charles's ear, and it says, this was a mutiny, and a mutiny is a devil's crime.
Okay, wow. I think that's probably the end when all of the player characters are dead. That's a good place to wrap up. But let's I think maybe see a quick epilogue from everyone. Jonathan,
I mean, what epilogues are there?
well, I guess we get to see Jackson's satisfaction a little bit, how Charles meets his comeuppance eventually, and then how Jonathan is received in hell.
Not even in your death is all we hear from Jackson.
So whether it's days or years from now, how does Fitzjames get his revenge on Charles?
Well, yeah, I think eventually Charles gets to land, and he gets to the island, and he sort of crawls off the boat exhausted into a heap. But as he, is waiting on the island, he just keeps hearing this whisper telling him about his crimes. And I think it drives the man a little bit mad. And we also see Abigail and Port Edward who is waiting, and then this huge Royal Navy sloop sails into port, and like we sort of see from a bird's eye view all of the pirates in town sort of scrambling to hide and seem like they're legitimate sailor businessmen, which probably will not work well for them. And the Royal Navy men step off the boat and they're bragging in, Abigail's brother's shop about how they just sank the Dagger, the famous ship of this, the famous pirate ship. And we just see Abigail's like shock when she hears that the Dagger went down in flames in the sea.
And do we get any vision of Jonathan being received in hell, or maybe his father's fortunes?
I think Jonathan, and as he is cast into hell, he will come to, and he's on a ship. It's kind of it's rough seas, and as he gets up and tries to figure out where he is and where his laudanum is, and if everything has just been a fever dream, then suddenly he will see Jackson, who comes into his room and tells him that Captain James is looking for him and that he'll get a lashing for sure today. And as he comes up, he'll see that there is James, and he is about 2 meters tall or even taller, and he looks even meaner than he used to look and in person. And Jackson's this little kind of guy, and the sky is blood red. And there is a storm brewing in the distance, but it will never reach this ship.
Well, that is definitely hell for Jonathan, huh? Okay, I guess we'll wrap up here. I'll stop recording and we'll debrief.